Yeah, when you came up to me after the Secret Session show, and you're like, would you want to come and like have a pint of Guinness and talk about your music? Like, yes. Like, yeah, this is right up my alley. What's the catch here?
No catch at all, man.
It ain't easy being this pretty, and it's hard when you're always right. Makes me feel a bit pity for the women that didn't get to be my wife. Oh, I'm sitting back on the old dirt track, pretending it's a yellow brick road. Talking back with the whiskey jack, kicking in with the crows. Oh, I never knew much about good old book. I knew a little about rhythm and blues. I thought, oh, geez, hell, why not me? Got nothing to lose. Dusted off this old guitar, lashed out some chords, the next thing I knew. And it's hard living in this modern world, and it ain't easy being me. I feel as though I'm living in a cave. Tell you that much for free. Oh, I'll tell you what you want to hear. If what you want to hear is what I have to say, I'll tell you how they don't make it quite like they used to back in the day. I never knew much about chivalry. In fact, I'd heard it all dead. My buddy talked about numerology. I thought I might try it instead. When I run out of fingers and toes, I had trouble keeping track of the things he said. It's a shame the way things are gone these days. They could fix it if they tried. Corruption in the government, so now to bring a tear to your eye. They sit back in their press dress slacks, knowing every word's a lie. We ought to bring back the guillotine, let a couple of them heads fly. Oh, I never knew much about politics. I always thought that it was safer that way. Cause if I knew about all the tomfoolery, might put me in a rage. I'm fine with a little bit of horsing around, but the boys are getting carried away. And it ain't easy being this pretty, and it's hard when you're always right. It made me feel a bit pity for the women that didn't get to be my wife. Oh Lord, I'm sitting back on the old dirt track, pretending it's a yellow brick road. Talking back to the whiskey jacks and kicking in with the crows. I never knew much about good old book. I knew a little about rhythm and blues. I thought, oh geez, hell, why not me? Got nothing to lose, just dusted off this old guitar, lashed out some chords, the next thing I knew.
CocoLarosa.
Hi.
Man, thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, cheers. You know how to play the game? Of split the E or split the G?
We're trying to get right down to the middle of the G there.
Right in here between the, all right?
Yeah.
So you have one go, and then once we put it down,
Yep.
then we fucking heads up, right?
Oh, I'm shy.
You're shit. I'll show the camera as well. I'm terrible at it as
all
well,
over
man.
myself too. There we go.
Oh, I got flies fucking going in mine. Yeah, I always need an extra sip. I don't know why.
I find I'm after my third or fourth is when I start getting dialed in, and then I'm knocking them down.
Nice, nice. Man, I was planning on doing kind of like an intro. Like I normally always do an intro.
Yep.
But then I came across your Spotify bio, and I just want to read that out because that is the best intro ever.
All right.
Forgive me for having a book. A man of lofty IQ, unquestionable principles, and unmatched dexterity when in the verbal arena. CocoLarosa is a folk singer-songwriter hailing from Surrey, BC, with rhythmic, bombastic, and lyrical-driven storytelling. Epic. Did you write that yourself?
I did. I came up with that. I've thought about changing it because I thought it was a little too
leave that.
smart-assy. But I thought
leave that.
If anybody doesn't like it, they're going to find something else to be pissed off about.
I know, and to be honest, after listening to your music,
Hey,
I can't agree more, man.
thank you.
I cannot agree more. and
very
then even we will get into it, but like even like the whole Reddit Grammy Award, man, that's fucking brush your shoulder off there, like that's class.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's been a funny one because nobody knows what a Reddit Grammy is, and neither did I when I won it.
I mean, yeah, it's the first time I've found it out.
Yeah.
But then when you go into it, the whole thing,
It's kind of neat, right? And I found out a month after I had won just because somebody left a message.
What?
They left a message on a YouTube video saying congratulations on your Reddit Grammy.
And that was for Soldiers of Giants.
Shoulders of Giants.
Sorry, Jesus
That's all
Christ.
right. Yeah, Shoulders of Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just took it. It was from all the stuff that had been played through a few different subreddits, and they grabbed all that, and they had judges, and So I didn't even know what was going on, and then somebody said
like
thanks.
32 judges or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll jump back into that. Let's go to the very beginning of young CocoLarosa.
Yeah. Well,
Where did your love for music come from?
I grew up around music. My mom plays guitar.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic guitar player. She played in the churches when we were kids, playing in worship bands, and so I always had guitars around the house. She always had a few kind of pawn shop specials, just something that we could play with as the kids without worrying about beating it up.
Yeah.
And I started messing around with one when I was kind of 12, 13, and had trouble learning other people's songs. So as soon as I got 3 chords under my belt, I just started making up my own songs to go along with it.
Yes.
And that became more fun for me, was making the stories and putting the words to it,
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So and you were just like lyrical from the get-go.
Yeah, right from the get-go. I had G, C, and D under my belt, and I made half a dozen songs when I was 12 years old.
Isn't that true? I think like I seen a reel with Ed Sheeran saying all the pop songs in the charts, you can play them with 3 chords.
With these 3 chords.
Yeah.
It was amazing how far you can go with them.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And just used to sit in the backyard and bash out tunes, and it was more just to entertain myself than anything else, and then started sharing it with my friends and just enjoyed it, right? It's what I would do when I was kicking back and relaxing by myself. I'd have a guitar on my knee all the time and just plunk along and say whatever came to my mind.
That's fucking sick. I could imagine when you're 12, 13,
Yeah.
your voice is not broken yet.
So
when did you get this glorious...
It was a lot different.
When did you get this glorious raspy voice?
That developed over years and years of abuse. Yeah. Yeah, smoking too much and yelling in the pub and, carrying on.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it's seasoned, right?
Seasoned, yeah, well seasoned. If I didn't, so I'll explain the first time that I met you was through David Willis and Secret Sessions. Mm-hmm. And it was an amazing show. Recommend anyone to go to that as well. That's so good.
Just great guys. David and Ollie, just wonderful guys. Great 100%, thing they're doing there.
100%. Yep. But straight off the bat, you did 3 songs. And then you even mentioned you were like, I stopped smoking a month ago. And are you still off the smokes?
I am. It's
Let's
been
go.
it's been a little over 3 months, and
Yeah.
it's been bloody tough. It's been really shitty actually, but it's good and it's getting better. So hopefully,
Nice.
you know, fingers crossed. It's gonna take this time. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
no, I've been looking into that. Have you seen the advertisement for Fume?
I have, yeah.
I'm curious. I'm thinking of getting one of them now.
You know, I thought about it, but they were like $150 or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They were pricey. But yeah, I don't know. I thought about something like that just for those nights.
Even they like advertise it so well because they're like, it's made certain sides, so it's fidgety.
Yeah.
It's perfect fidgety. I was like, oh,
just for those nights when you're having a few drinks in a real particularly tough situation that you can kind of feel like you're
yes.
at least everything other than the nicotine's there, right?
Yes. Anyway, so from 15 to when did you start like taking it serious then?
Well, not for a long time.
Yeah.
I was just playing for friends and at parties and around the campfire for a lot of years.
Did you have a catalogue of a couple of songs that you had then?
Oh yeah, I had dozens of them. I had a long catalog of songs, most of them not finished.
Yeah.
Still, some of them I'm planning to finish because I go back and some of them are pretty good, you know.
Man.
And I've been packing them around for coming up on 20 years, you know. So,
Shit.
but for the longest time, I just kind of. It was just in the background, and it was there. After I got married, we moved into an apartment, and I couldn't stay up late into the wee hours of the morning playing because of the neighbors, and there was a bit of a dry spell there.
Yeah.
And we moved into a place where I could, and that was right about the time I was turning 30 a few years back, and I kind of got a second wind and started writing again, and
just to jump into that, another question as well. Folk is generally what you go for, and it's always your voice and a guitar.
most of the time, yeah.
Where was your influences from then?
Well, and that's kind of a funny question because there was a few people I listened to that kind of did that. There was guys like Mason Jennings when I started writing, who was Waylon Jennings' son, and his style, it's very good, but it's simple, and it was simple enough that I thought, well, you know, I could do that, right? But a lot of the stuff I listen to doesn't sound like I sound, right? And I think part of that's because when I sit down to write, I've never sat down thinking I'm going to write a folk song. It's just I sit down with my guitar and whatever happens, and it happens to come out sounding the way it does, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I was listening to a lot of, you know, Gogol Bordello back in the day. Ukrainian gypsy punk was a huge band for me. I loved them all through high school. I've seen them a lot of times, and they're just awesome and sublime and ska and reggae.
How did you even find them?
Might have been my girlfriend, now wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're a great band. I think one of our first dances, our first dance at our wedding was I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire by the Ink Spots from the Fallout games.
Okay.
But the second song, when all our buddies came in dancing, is Gogol Bordello doing American Wedding, which is just a banger. It's
All right.
yeah. Talking about, have you ever been to American Wedding? Where's the vodka? Where's the marinated herring? It's awesome. So I was listening to a lot of stuff that doesn't sound anything like I do.
Yeah.
But just when I sit down with a guitar and I do my thing, it happens to come out sounding the way it does. And
Because you're almost the speed in some of the songs that you sing. It's nearly like a rap.
well, and up until not too long ago, it used to be a lot faster.
Yeah.
It used to be coming at you just boom, 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 boom. And
Yeah.
and people always, when I was young, it was always, you need to slow down. Like, people need to hear what you're saying because you're saying good shit, right?
Yeah.
And
Just off the top of my head, stream of whiskey.
Little Stream of Whiskey,
Little
yeah,
stream
yeah.
of whiskey. That's my Friday soon.
hey.
That's my leaving work Friday.
Yeah.
I'm blaring that out, man.
That's
It's unreal. But that's
Well, and a lot of those
Such a
songs
belter as
on that Something Like That album.
Yes, yeah,
Like
yeah.
we recorded that in my basement, me and my wife, not knowing anything about the music industry or how to record or what was up. We just thought, well, shit, we should record some of the tunes. And those were ones that were kind of over the years, some of them going way back. I wrote when I was a kid.
No way.
And we just thought, let's record them, get them out. We did it on Audacity with one mic and no post-processing, and just pumped it out all in one take, just
way.
put it out. And it makes me cringe a bit looking back at it, but that was the first step that got us going and got us out the door, right?
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I never would have started playing and going to the open mic, which led to performing and led to everything, right? So it's
so sick, man.
That was the first step of the journey.
And just to compare, right? I remember seeing an interview with Oliver Anthony. Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yep.
That artist. But a lot of his songs on Spotify are basically recorded on his iPhone and then just uploaded.
Right.
So it's like there's no shame in it. You know what I mean?
Well, and the
I
whole...
When you were saying I cringe at it now. I don't think you should.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Well, and it's just it's kind of with this type of music, with pop or with folk. It's not like you're making pop where you're trying to get it played in the club and people dancing to it. You're trying to express yourself and say something that's on your mind, and it doesn't need to be a perfect recording to do that, right? As long as people can pick up what you're putting down, right? They can catch the idea, and they can hear the words, and hopefully you're speaking truth, and they can pick that up, right?
There's another artist there as well. I completely can't think it. Shaky Graves.
Oh yeah.
Shaky Graves, and this is another question, but I'll explain. On YouTube, he has a song that's recorded outside of an airfield.
Okay.
And obviously that one-man band, and then you can hear the airplanes and the jets going by, but that because it's not perfect, it makes it even better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has an original one, but I just jumped straight to that YouTube one, which is so sick.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah, and he's got his Samsonite little suitcase drum and everything. Yeah. No, he's very cool. I caught him last time he came through town, and it was
nice.
An excellent show. And he did half the show with the band. He did half the show by himself, and the half by himself was excellent.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, almost stronger coming through the way he performed solo.
Savage, man, savage. Let's start off. CocoLarosa. Where did that name come from?
That came from...
And then is it like the Spanish, like Coco de Rose?
Well, it wasn't originally.
And then it's all one word then as well. So
it came from when I was quite young and scrawling a bit of graffiti. We used to write Coco under the bridge in the bog and LaRosa, and then they got merged together, and that was my gamer tag for years and years and years. So online I was always known as CocoLarosa. Okay. And it just stuck when we started doing music.
Man, it's good. It has a ring to it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, and I got used to being called it. Like I'd be in a guild or something online, and all my buddies would be like, "Hey, Coco," and I just got used to it. So I always liked it.
Another thing that I really like is your artwork. Do you do all your artwork on your albums? And then the one thing that follows through, and since you said graffiti, is the writing.
Yeah.
Do you use writing because the eye has a little circle on it and everything? And so, where did that come from? Or is that just a font on the computer?
That's just a font on the computer.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
No way! Oh man, it's sick.
Yeah, it's a good one, right? So, but it is kind of a little nod to back in the day.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, and the artwork, some of it.
For something like that.
Something like that is a painting my sister did. My sister's a very accomplished artist.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, she's up in the Yukon, and that is a painting, I believe, of a bunch of her friends. They were hanging out down at the city dump in an old hot tub.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
And she had a photograph of that, and she painted it, and she let me use that for the album, and as well as for the pit. There's the painting of a.
They load of bodies, kind of like
a dude in a box.
Yeah.
And that's a painting she did back in high school. That's actually hanging in my parents' house.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, man. The Pit is probably, it's one of my, it's my favorite song.
Yeah.
And you know how like how it plays in Spotify, it'll go The Pit, and then the next one then for me is Peace of Mind.
Oh yeah.
Peace of Mind is a gem as well, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. When you have, you touched on it at the very beginning, where you were saying that your mum was in choir. And
Yeah, like a worship group.
A lot of your lyrics resort back to religion.
Yeah.
And is that just from growing up, or like
there
how
was
did that
there
work
was
out?
a lot of that when I was a kid. So that's ingrained. You know, I kind of moved away from that in my teens, but it's there.
Talking to an Irishman here,
right?
now, you know? Yeah.
Hard to shake it, ain't it?
I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's always there, and you know, like it's like they say, the Bible and religion and the Catholic Church and all that, it's shaped Western civilization
100%.
and the world, and it's
For good or bad.
or
you know
bad.
what I mean?
Either
Yeah.
way, it just irrevocably, it's there, and it's a big part of our history, right?
And yeah, so like I was saying before as well, what was the decision to go CocoLarosa, and then you're like a one-man band? Why didn't you just go your name and you're a solo singer?
Well, you know,
Or I'm kind of right saying that, right?
yeah. And the idea with that was that, you know, with CocoLarosa, there's like one step of separations of privacy if you wanted it, you know,
True, yeah.
like Shaky Graves.
Yeah.
I don't know his real name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Do you?
yeah. No, I
Right?
don't.
You know, so it's
If
you
I-
could find it out.
I
You
think
could-
it's Matt something or other.
I
but
know you
I'm-
could do a Google search and you
Yeah,
could find
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's that one step of separation.
Yes.
And then I also thought at the time that if we wanted to open it up to bring in other members of the band, that we could do that without blinking an eye, you know. I could be CocoLarosa, we could be CocoLarosa, but I've kind of changed my thinking on that. Now if I got a band, it would be CocoLarosa and the Cat Dad Band or whatever it is. You know?
You already
Maybe.
Yeah, we're looking for some cats out there.
That's
Yeah.
right. If you're a cat dad, you know.
Are you a cat dad? Is
Oh
that what
yeah,
you're saying?
I've got just the best cat in the whole world.
What's the cat's name?
Chairman,
Chairman.
if you're listening, love you, bud.
Oh my God! Why would Chairman such a random name?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's a little tyrant, right? So.
Okay.
But he's an amazing cat. He's big. He's Maine Coon and Norwegian Forest cat. He's huge.
So
and-
outdoor cat.
No, indoor. He's pampered and
Good
yeah,
stuff.
love him far too much to let him ever go outside.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So the next question I was going to ask is because you were saying opening it up to a band, Bottom of the Slough is the latest song that you have out right now, correct?
Yep.
Why did you choose to have a band on that?
That was, you know, up until that one, everything we had recorded had been done in the basement, just at home.
Another Peace of Mind, right? It sounds like a studio version as well.
Recorded it at home, sent it to my buddy.
No, sorry. A pocket of something.
Fill your pocket.
Fill your pocket.
Well, that was recorded at home, but then my buddy RJ, he's a DJ usually.
Yeah.
Centrix.
Because the sound difference is.
He did the mixing and the mastering on that, and did it a little different. I think did a very good job on that, but
100%,
very
yeah.
different than what we did because, you know, he's starting from. He's got a bit of an idea about what industry standard is. When I'm doing things, I'm starting from zero and going, I don't know, that sounds all right. You know, like I'm just fiddling with knobs until it's like, send it out.
You know that quote? There's a quote in that movie, fucking Pearl Harbor, and they're like, they're like, are you airplane pilots? And they're like, yeah, there's a lot of switches and stuff, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
Well, and that's peace of mind as well. I recorded at home and then I sent to a friend, and he did the mixing and mastering. Because
Unreal.
when somebody knows what they're doing, compared to me, where every 5 minutes I gotta stop and YouTube how to do what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. It's worth it. It's worth your time just to
Yeah.
not be there.
And at first I didn't think it was. At first I thought I'll do everything myself, but that's a whole nother career, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So then after we had worked with, this is my buddy Tom at 5 Feet Under Records, we worked with him. He did the mastering on Peace of Mind. And then we did Bottom of the Slough with him, and I thought, well, shit, let's bring in a drummer and a bass player and backing vocals. But it was kind of thrown together on the fly in the studio. I was like, sure, let's go. You know, there wasn't...
Really, huh?
I didn't have a clear image of what I wanted as the end product, and I think I need to.
when you say thrown together, you had the lyrics and you had the song.
Oh yeah, the lyrics and the song I had, but then it was like I called up a buddy and be like, hey, you want to drum on this? And he's like, yeah. Like, should we get together before we get in the studio? And it's like, yeah, sure, right? Like, otherwise I was just gonna have him show up and be like, you know what you're doing, right? Yeah. So figuring out.
Yeah, give me a beat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad. And then going back to it's very gospel-y, and the backup singers do a great job.
Yeah, and that wound up sounding more gospel-y than I thought it would. We threw in the backing singers, and it was like, oh, and it was fine. It was.
Oh no, man!
You know,
it's sick.
But it also just kind of happened that way, which is moving forward. I'm going to be getting back in the studio and cutting some. And I think with these ones, I'm going to go back to just acoustic and vocals.
Okay.
For probably do a set of 4 or something and kind of strip it back. Just because the next time I go in with a band, I want to have a clear idea of what the end game is instead of figuring it out as we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going into something like that and the album, and you were saying that you had a whole pile of tracks,
Yep.
and some that not finished and whatnot.
Yep.
How did you work out picking from the ones that you wanted on that album?
Well,
because that was your first album, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And how was that experience?
It was good. It was interesting. It was, like I said, there was a bit of a hiatus where I hadn't been really making that much music. And then we moved to a place where I could be up all night making noise, and the juices started flowing, and I started writing again quite wild. Just things were coming up all the time, and I thought we should record some of the old ones while this is going on. And we started doing that, and it was just at home, not having a clue what we were doing, just recording and seeing what came. And it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of frustration at times, you know, and especially because, you know, there was no punching in or anything. Those are all just one take, live off the floor, see what happened, right?
Like Vanadu's, one take.
Yeah, every one of them.
That's another one that I was like, this guy definitely raps. The speed and just the fluidity is.
Like I say, back in the day, they were quick. Like
So I texted you. I was like, "What is Vanadu's?" So
yeah,
definitely go and watch it or listen to it on Spotify or all streaming platforms. But Vanadu's is a hardware shop.
Yeah, it's kind of a fantasy big box store where you can get anything and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And how did that even just strip it down? How did you come up with this concept?
But I woke up hungover with this idea in my head. I remember that morning, and I started working it out, and I was singing this stupid tune, and my buddy's like, "What's that?" I was like, "I have just the stupidest idea, but I think it's gonna be cool," and it turned into that. And some of the ideas that I go, "This is just dumb. Like, don't run with it." They end up being the ones that I like the most in the end. Right?
The one that stands out for me is that you can get Japanese or Chinese chopsticks.
Yeah. And they're different, right?
I didn't even know you could get different ones.
Yeah. And they got them all, right?
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so like so you just ran with the idea, and do you go home, write it down then? And
I used to never write anything down. It was all in my head, and I've started to write everything down now because there's whole songs that I've lost. There's ones where I remember 1 or 2 lines.
No way.
Like I got one line. You know, in Jabba's palace in Star Wars.
Oh man, okay, I'll go for it, but I'm not too much.
There's the little dude with the long ears that's laughing behind
I think
Jabba.
I know him. Yeah.
That's Salacious Crumb. And I got a line. I can hear you cackling in the background like Salacious Crumb.
Oh right.
But I don't know the rest of the song. The rest of the song's gone, but that line's still there. And
No way.
It haunts me to this day that I can't remember the rest of it. Really irritates me. So now I make sure I write everything down. I record things as the ideas come up. And
I'd love to be inside your head for a day. Just to see how many tunes are in there. What's going on?
There's a few working their way around. Yeah.
That's madness. When it comes to deciding all, let's answer that question as well. Deciding all the set lists for that album, something like that.
Yeah.
Where, like,
well, back then it was kind of what did I think? What did I
felt
enjoy
right?
playing? What I thought had legs? Like what was finished?
Yeah.
You know, what I could finish quickly enough to get out, and you know, there's some songs from that era that I really enjoy that are still half done, and I plan on finishing one day because they're cool songs. But yeah.
Then when you go on to what state of mind? Because I said earlier, The Pit was my favorite song.
Yeah.
What state of mind were you in for that?
That one was a bit of an anomaly because at that time I still wrote most of my stuff late at night, usually having a few. And, that one was, we had a friend come over who was struggling with pretty serious depression, and it's just like coming up against a wall. Everything positive gets shot down. And like when you're in that state of mind, and I've been there, it's hard to see anything positive. It feels almost like an attack on your state of mind.
Yeah, 100%.
And I hadn't been in that space for some time, and I found it quite abrasive to be up against it because I know what it's like. And I remember after they left,
It's so tiresome as well.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's exhausting, right? So I wound up, and I wasn't sure what to do with how that was making me feel, and I sat down with the guitar, and that song came out probably, I probably walked away within an hour or two having 60-70% of that song just kind of
No way.
blah come out.
Is that mostly the case?
It can be. The problem with that is I get a lot in a go, and then I don't come back to touch it because I feel like if I'm actually working on it, that doesn't feel legitimate. It doesn't feel like it's inspired, So for years, I would just let a song sit because I got 90% of it in an evening, and then I never would finish it, right? So now I understand that there's a place for inspiration and being moved in the moment, but there's also a place for buckling down and finishing what you started, right? So,
yes.
Yeah.
If you were to try and have you this like repetition of I kind of figure out where I get inspiration from now, and you try and that this is a very airy fairy fucking question, but no,
and like every time I write a song that I love, I get worried it's going to be the last one. I go,
really,
it's like I've heard some people talk about like how scary a blank canvas is, right? Like there's all the world of potential, but there's also nothing there. It's like and when
and then there is that saying where like paper never refused ink,
right?
As well, and then I was listening to, do you know Theo Von actually?
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran was on his show. Really recent, maybe the last couple of weeks, and I listened to it last week. And Ed was like, he was saying, you just have to get out like the writer's block.
Yeah.
Just even write down bad ones.
Yeah,
You
totally.
need to get the bad ones out, and then the good ones will come.
Yeah. Well, and Rick Rubin, there's a quote from him talking about like existing with a mindset of scarcity or plenty, right? And it can be hard. It can feel like there'll never be another song, but there will be, right? Like and yeah, there's going to be a lot of shitty ones, but even those shitty ones, it's good practice. It's like honing a blade, right? You should run with the bad ones because they might turn into good ones, And even if they don't, it's good practice to run with them, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, let's bring up this getting the Reddit Grammy.
Hey,
So you had your album, and then this happened in 2022 or 3. I think it was 23.
I think it was 23. Yeah, last summer.
So you're posting all your songs on Reddit?
The odd ones we would throw up on there.
Yeah.
There was a few different subreddits that we would throw our music up on. There was indie music feedback and a few different things, and just put it out there to get feedback, especially off of the Something Like That album. Like I said, we didn't know what we were doing at all, so I put it out there, and some people on Reddit would hit me up and say, like, great song, great performance, but how did you record this, right? Like, if you want some tips, hit me up. And so we'd start talking back and forth, and it'd be a sound engineer saying, well, you should go buy yourself a couple mics, you should look at using this. And people were great about sharing their knowledge, and all the way through people have been. And so every time we would do a new recording, we'd throw it up on there and get feedback and just try and learn from each release, right? And Shoulders was the first song we released after the Something Like That album.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get that one out because it seemed pertinent and powerful to me when I wrote it. I was like, this is timely, and it
Yeah, it was around the time where America was kind of going to shit, right?
America was going to shit. Also, environmentally, things were happening here. Like we had, I remember it was right when I had finished it, was when we had that atmospheric river that took out the CocoLarosa and every other major highway in the province and isolated the Lower Mainland. It was like, like shit's happening, man, right? So it seemed like a good time, and it was relevant. And yeah, the States are going to shit, and the world's crazy, as it always has been, but particularly,
Yeah, it's funny even listening to that now and then going to relate it back to America and the whole like election going on. I'm like, this is nearly like you can relate to this again,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I'm playing it sometimes now. I say, and I wrote this a couple years back, so things ain't gone any better.
100%.
Yeah. But I wanted to get it out, and that again, we recorded with one mic and very little understanding. And
no, man, fucking. So yeah, long story short, you put it up, and then out of nowhere, just like you just get this award.
I think we put it up in the fall, and it was last summer that somebody left a comment on a YouTube post, because I guess they didn't know how to get a hold of me. So it was just a comment that said, "Hey, congratulations on winning the folk singer songwriter Reddit Grammy," and then he had some nice words to say. It was one of the judges. He said, "You were one of the few."
Out of 1,400 songs too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's sick, man.
Yeah, and I used to kind of shy away from it because it's like, oh, it's a Reddit Grammy, no one knows what it is. But
take your flowers. Man.
But yeah, and it's one I didn't even. It's not like I put my name in. I didn't even throw my hat in the ring and say like, well, check it out. It was just out there, and somebody said, "Fuck yeah," right? And so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that's sick.
Yeah.
Unreal. What's next now? You were saying you were going to go back into the studio?
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a collection of songs, do an EP of 4 songs that I wrote kind of after that hiatus, like I talk about when the balls started rolling again. And these were songs that came out pretty early in that stage. And during that time of my life, there was a lot going on. My father-in-law had fallen ill, which ended up killing him eventually. And
shit, man, sorry to hear.
And it was just thank you. It was a tough time with our family and for my wife, of course, and a lot going on, and some of that seeped into the songs almost subconsciously. I didn't realize it at the time until you look back and you go, oh, that might have been what I was talking about. Right?
Yeah.
So there's 4 of them in particular that are kind of dealing with with that time, and they're similar themes, and they just go together really naturally, and it just seemed like a good opportunity. We're gonna knock them out just acoustic and vocals to kind of, that's what people see when they see me playing, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a true representation of what I do.
It makes it, the lack of a better word, but it's really real when you do it. Like it's just raw and real, man. And
Well, and these
and
songs,
simplistic, but it's not simplistic at all.
right?
And it really makes it, yeah.
And these ones are quite personal, and I think I just want to get the best recording of the vocals and just to have the lyrics heard, because that's what I do, right?
Yeah.
I'm writing lyrics. I'm trying to explain a state of mind or a feeling or where I'm at as honestly as I can, and hopefully people can resonate with it and it can hit home, and I think these are going to be a really good fit for that.
Do you have a date or a time or anything?
I'm hoping to be in the studio by the end of July.
Cool.
Or into August, and I don't know when we'll be releasing them, but I'm hoping to have them recorded throughout the second half of the summer here.
Are you going to go back in with 5 foot under?
Yeah, 5 feet under.
5 feet under?
My buddy Tom there, we're going to be dealing with him again. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Just going off the name, 5 feet under. Is it in a basement?
It is in a basement.
Oh, unreal.
It is. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's a lovely basement to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen pictures on your Instagram. They're sick, actually. Yeah, 100%.
No, and I've just had a lot of fun with it. Just hanging out and having a team of people that are kind of working together for a common goal on your song.
Yeah.
Is a great feeling. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, just to compare, like from doing what you were doing in your apartment to going into our studio, was it daunting at the start, or were you like, this is a weight off my shoulders?
It was a weight off my shoulders. And Tom over there, I got to know him. He used to run an open mic out at Red Rum Records, and I met him and knew he was a good guy, and we got along real well, and I had gone over and hung out in the studio a few times, and he just made it very very inviting and a safe environment. It was
Nice.
It was great. Yeah, and it does feel like a weight off your shoulders because I'm just there to do what I do, right? I don't have to try and learn how to do all this other shit now. It's just play the song you wrote, right? And do it to the best of your ability. So
are you, I don't know why I'm asking this, are you still doing it that one track go beat off, or do you go over and do it a couple of times, or you can, how like some artists will snip it and get the best bits and then put it all together?
Most of what we've done has wound up being a single take, and that might change in the future. I've always recorded the guitar with the vocals because it's been easier for me as a performer. Okay. Because I don't sing without a guitar. Like I'm not, unless you catch me at karaoke once in a blue moon. I'm not singing without a guitar, right? So it used to throw me off, but the last time we were playing around in there, I got in the vocal booth and was doing some stuff, and that actually turned out quite well. So we might experiment with that this time.
What's your karaoke song?
I Will Survive.
Is it, yeah?
Yeah. At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Oh yeah, every time, love it.
I'm when I text you first, when I heard you first, I was like, Louis Armstrong. What a Wonderful World.
Oh,
and
I do love
if you
Louis.
ever do a cover, just write down Sean from Split the told me to do this, because
I'll put that back
you were exactly a folk version of him.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I love Louis Armstrong. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Unreal. What shows you're coming up?
I'm gonna be playing at Fusion Fest in Surrey on the 20th. And I got a thing on July 13th. My buddy Sal puts on the best backyard festival in the Lower Mainland. Salapalooza. Yeah, and Sal's from the band Iria, which great band and just great guys. Him and Matt. They're putting it on, but there's a few guys I know performing. One of my good buddies, Aaron, and an old timer named Medrick, who is just a legend. He's awesome. There's 8 bands playing, and it's going to be a full day, and they're selling 50-50 tickets, and
Oh, no way.
yeah, there'll be food and entertainment. Kids get in free. It's a good one.
Sick.
That's a sweet one.
Oh,
yeah,
sick. Unreal.
Really looking forward to that.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah.
And then what's your Instagram handle and all of that?
CocoLarosa.music is the Instagram, and everything else you can probably find from there.
Through your bio.
Yeah.
And you have sick merch as well, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's all made at home. My wife does most of that.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unreal. I look forward to the future and seeing you. I'll try and make it out to the 13th.
Oh, that'd be great. It's going to be a good day.
That's not next weekend, that's the weekend after.
That's right. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, his channel, and like, share all of them, and we see you in the next show. Peace.